Clemson is recruiting running back like it matters because it does.
You are Locked On Clemson, your daily podcast on the Clemson Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Tiger fans? Morgan Thomas here. Welcome to Locked On Clemson, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the number one sports podcast network, and that is largely due to you, the everydayers who stick with us Monday through Friday every single week. Thank you so much for tuning in to this Friday edition of Locked On Clemson. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about recruiting, talk about Clemson football. But before we get into anything, we want to talk about 5 Hour Energy. Have your cake and drink it too. Birthday cake flavor is back. No fork needed. Vanilla-y, cakey flavor, caffeinated kick, and no sugar. It's party time. Order now at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. All right, let's get into the episode and start with something very simple. Clemson typically takes one running back per cycle. That's what we've been seeing in the past. That's what we've been seeing that they've been wanting to do. Just one. And that's different than a lot of their competition out there. Sometimes you see the Georgia Bulldogs stack 4. Sometimes you see Alabama stack 4. Sometimes you see Ohio State like carrying a hedge fund like it, carrying depth like it's a hedge fund, just stacking up as much as they can. Well, Clemson's model at running back has been very clear. Identify the guy that they really want, attempt to build a very strong relationship with that player, and then ultimately close the deal. Now, that strategy has worked beautifully in the past, and when it works, man, makes you feel pretty good because you put all that effort in and you actually did get a result that you were looking for. But when that type of hyper focus doesn't work, that's when it hurts you big time. And Clemson's missed. They miss multiple times under CJ Spiller. And when you miss and going after one player, well, it's not just a one-time problem. It could be a 2 or 3 year ripple effect because you now have lost someone who should be taking over the helm further on down the road. It shows up eventually not only in who your starters are, i.e. you brought in a wide receiver, converted a wide receiver. You really don't want to have to do that. That's not the best practice. It shows up in rotation because you don't have healthy legs. And not only that, you don't have even trustworthy legs to rotate in your running back group. It shows up in practice reps because the team just does not have what it takes. They don't have the talent that they need to be successful. And it ultimately shows up later on in the season when you need someone fresh or when you need someone in the fourth quarter, you just don't have it. Now, this season or this offseason seems to be a little bit different. They're going after Trey Segarra, Andrew Beard, and Gary Walker, and they're kind of equally going after all three. That's not just one, stick to them and try to ride them and close them till all the very end. It's not, this is our guy and this is it. They're trying to be a little bit more strategic or at least adjust their approach, protecting themselves against putting all their eggs in one basket. And that's important because Clemson's offense has to have a running back that matters. They have to have a running back that they can trust, that's functional at a high level of college football. Look across college football right now. Look at the playoff teams that are out there. Look at the NFL. The teams that close games, the teams that survive late on in the season, the teams that are able to dictate the tempo and that are very difficult to get off of the field, well, those teams can run the ball Even when everybody in the stadium knows they're going to freaking run it, they still do it, and they have success at it. Clemson, at its peak, had a great running back and had more than one running back that you could trust. Clemson, at its peak, had a rotation, had change of pace, had really guys that are now in the NFL and doing well. Even when the passing game maybe is faltering and not as explosive as you wanted, you don't have to worry about your identity disappearing because your passing game has struggled. Landing a running back that is a high-level running back also, to me, signals that you still got it when it comes to recruiting. It signals that there is still interest, that there is a commitment to balance, that there is a belief out there that Clemson is going to play physical football and not just air it out or forget about the run. And you're not going to abandon, you're going to build around it. And this matters for CJ Spiller. It matters for him because it's not been great. It's not been great for CJ. Easy Omume was the one guy he took, the one guy he went after. It hasn't come to fruition with him. He doesn't seem like he is capable of being a running back at this level. Clemson went after Jarvis Green and Jay Haynes late because everybody else gave up on him. Clemson went after Justice Haynes and a lot of other guys, Richard Young, and CJ fumbled on all of those guys a couple of years ago. Gideon Davidson, really, a lot of people say that Davidson came because of Dabo's influence more than CJ Spiller's ability to close the deal. A lot of these things could be speculation, but there could be perception. Perception matters in recruiting. Running backs matter in recruiting. Recruits talk to each other. High school coaches talk to each other. Trainers talk to each other. They have to believe in the coaches that are coming out to see them. They have to believe in CJ Spiller. If Segarra, who has family ties to South Carolina, lands at Clemson, well, that changes the narrative a little bit. Beard lands at Clemson, that changes the narrative a little bit. It gives CJ something to build off of. If Clemson misses again, the narrative hardens for most of the fans and for me as well. Because while we love CJ and I have his jersey behind me signed, my favorite player, Hall of Famer, if he continues to struggle at recruiting running backs consistently, then you go back into thinking that maybe he's just not right for the role. It's not just about 2026 either. Reputation at the position matters, and continued success year over year. You can't go dry one year and good the next year and dry the next 2 years and then good the next. It's so inconsistent. Then your depth is inconsistent. Then your rotation's inconsistent. And that's what we're seeing at running back. And thank goodness for Adam Randall. Because if he hadn't have committed to changing to a running back position, Clemson would have been up a creek big time. Big time. He saved Clemson's season in a lot of ways because he was willing to change to running back. Adam Randall is a Clemson guy through and through. And he sacrificed his ability to play the position he wanted to play to switch to running back and help the team out. And was, in my opinion, one of the best players on offense last season. That is great for Clemson, but it's not great overall for running back and running back recruiting. That the guys you brought in, you had to find another player that wasn't even a running back to start. The position has got to get back to an elite rotation. They can't just keep doing this. Do not let the position slide. And the board is showing that they're still committed to going after and being committed to building the run game. they've got to close it out now. All right, let me know what you think in the comments or go message me at The Morgan T Show over on X. In segment 2, we'll get into what Clemson is doing differently on the recruiting trail as well right here on Locked on Clemson. Welcome to the 5-hour energy flavor draft with 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like confetti craze, fruity rainbow, and cotton candy. There's something for everyone. The board is set. The flavors are ready. I've got my number one pick for the 5-hour energy flavor draft. Now, if I'm going to pick my flavor today, I'm going to go with cotton candy, a delicious swirl of sugary clouds and a fruity twist and a hint of vanilla. The sweet side of tasty caffeine, a throwback flavor with a boost, light and airy candy profile, nostalgic carnival-style taste, pure sweetness from start to finish, sweet tooth fix without the sugar guilt. And 5-hour energy shots give you a boost with zero sugar. And 5-hour energy has a lot of upcoming flavor innovations planned, like all these flavors that we're talking about, 18 different flavors. So find your favorite flavor of 5-hour energy shots available at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. This episode's also brought to you by FanDuel. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Also wanted to talk to you about the Everydayer Club. I put the banner here on segment 2. For those of you on YouTube, you can check it out. If you go over to the Everydayer Club and you sign up, you'll be sent into a Discord server that is kind of like a live message board. It's a chat room, and you can hang out with other everydayers, and there are bots and different posts so you can have up-to-date stuff. I went in there today, and you have up-to-date information on basketball, games that are happening, softball, baseball, and recruiting in football. And then not only is it guys like you and me and girls like you going in there and being a part of it and all the everydayers, but there are hosts from all over the different shows, not just college. There's all kinds of different hosts in there that you can talk to and ask them questions about their team or get some insight so you can be the most informed fan. And it's really awesome. And then on top of that, you get that ad-free audio for the podcast that I know a lot of people have been asking for. So go check it out. I'll leave the banner up. Locked on Clemson.supercast.com and check it out. And I'll put the link in the show notes as well. Now let's get specific what Clemson is actually doing differently. You're seeing Clemson invite players on an official visit weekend, but this time they don't even have any offers. Well, hey, that's a lot different. Historically, Clemson's process was to offer a player and then try to get them scheduled for a visit second. Now we're seeing the visit first, and what I am dubbing earn the offer, which is a little small tweak, but not really a small tweak. It's more of a sequence change. A change in sequencing is signaling something in the staff that they want to tweak how they're doing this recruiting. Think about it this way. If you offer early, you're investing in that player and you're investing in that commitment immediately. You're putting your chip on the table and you're saying, this is our guy. And remember how I've told you that's also come back to bite them when that number one guy like delays on them and is not ready. And then you are left holding the bag, waiting for them to come out the door, and they don't ever do it. Now, what they're trying to do is invite first. You're saying, hey, we're going to entertain you. We're going to wine and dine you. We're going to show you the facilities. We're going to let you get used to all of our staff and all of the support staff and everything that we have to offer and all of our players. So you're going to get a taste of what it's like to be a Clemson player. You're going to get all the benefits of all that, but we're not going to give you an offer. Why are we not going to give you an offer but show you all those things? Well, we're going to have you turn it back on you and say, Mr. High School player, Mr. High School recruit, we need you. We'll wine and dine you. We'll show you all this stuff. When I say wine, I mean Diet Coke. But we'll show you all this stuff. We'll show you what it's like. But until you show us your true interest, until you show us that you are ready, until you show us that Clemson means something to you, then we'll offer you. This may actually preserve what Dabo has tried to do over the years and value the name of the offer, value the significance of the offer more than just handing it out. Dabo is never going to be that guy that just handed out a bunch of offers like everybody else does. Instead of, hey, I got an offer from Clemson, but I'm probably not going to go visit. It's going to be now, well, I need to go visit because I still got to go get that offer from them because I really want that one. It could be a powerful shift in the recruiting environment if it works for Clemson. They're also widening the funnel, increasing their options. Old Clemson, again, may have hung on two names for months and months. New Clemson has not 200. I'm not going down that path of saying they have 200, but I will say new Clemson has, instead of just hanging on one or two, new Clemson has 3 or 4. And they may not even be offering all 4, which is different from what we've seen in the past. Typically, it was 1, and then that person start giving you signals that they're not going to commit. Then it was 2. If that person gives you signals that they weren't going to commit, it was 3. Now it's, okay, we're not even going to offer all 3. We're just going to bring them all in. We're going to kind of give them a taste, and we're going to see which one wants it more, rather. Modern recruiting, you got to get these guys on the board. You got to get these guys in to visit, because if you don't, you're going to end up with falling through on your first choice, your second choice, your third choice. And it's going to be more public. And that's what happened last season, in my opinion, is that you start to see that the guys that actually would commit were the 5th option. And that is devastating when it comes to recruiting. When you're hitting on that first guy, it can be a big snowball effect. But when you're not hitting on that first guy, you have to protect a bit against being seen as you're just offering the next best person that you really didn't want. You wanted the other guy, but you're just offering the next best person. To me, it's Clemson playing the strategy role. It's Clemson doing something a little bit different, tweaking it. And it could be creating a little bit of competition between the recruits that you have on the board. If Trey Segarra knows that Andrew Beard is visiting and that they're both fighting for the same opportunity, then that could provide some urgency. If Beard knows that Walker's coming in, that could add some urgency. Scarcity is what marketing is all about and sales. If it exists and it's applied then in the right way, then it could be a way for Clemson to get back into what they used to be, where it was Clemson's offer means more. And it's actually not that Clemson's offer means less at all. They're not abandoning it, They're not going away from it by not offering. They're actually trying to make it more exclusive, in my opinion. They're kind of redefining how they do it. Earn it and then visit seems to be switched up now to visit and possibly earn it. And that gives them more options without that commitment. It gives them more options to go and bring a bunch of players in. And then when those players start giving you true signals, then you can offer. I like it. I think it might work in the long run. And so that's what I'm looking for Clemson in this recruiting cycle. We'll find out this summer how it all worked out and how it all shook out. All right, segment 3, we're going to finish everything up with what is the one thing that still matters and makes everything work easier and that is winning games. Segment 3 is only for the everydayers. So if you're an everydayer, stick with me right here on Locked On Clemson.
I'm Clea Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. It was a heavyweight showdown between number 3 South Carolina and number 7 LSU, and the Gamecocks rose to the occasion. South Carolina secured a hard-fought 79-72 victory to stay atop the SEC standings, using a balanced offensive attack to outlast the Tigers. Tessa Johnson led the way with 21 points, while Raven Johnson added 19. Medina Okot dominated the paint with a double-double, finishing with 12 points and 17 rebounds, while Joyce Edwards chipped in 10 points to round out the scoring. With the statement win, the Gamecocks now turn their attention to a road matchup at number 23 Alabama on Thursday. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
Welcome back in Locked On Clemson, segment 3 here for the everydayers. As I mentioned, I love you guys and thank you for sticking with me for segment 3 here on a Friday edition of the show. And we'll get into why it all really matters and what is really going to make everything work. And here's the honest part about it. None of this matters that I said in segment 2 or segment 1 if Clemson falters again and goes 7-6. Recruiting strategy doesn't fix perception. Winning fixes perception. When Clemson was recruiting at its best, they were winning games. They were getting to the playoffs. They were sending first rounders to the NFL. They were playing in prime time, not on noon kickoffs over and over and over. Recruits could see themselves winning championships. Recruits could see themselves in high-profile game at night under the lights. Recruits could see themselves not only in playoff games, but in the NFL. Recruiting momentum is downstream from the product that you have on the field. So yes, Clemson is adjusting. Yes, they are broadening their board and they're changing and tweaking their recruiting strategy, but they have to go to work on the football field, because if the offense comes out in 2026 and doesn't look explosive, and if there aren't any clear superstars on the team, then there isn't any national relevance, and recruiting will fall on its face and feel just as hard as it has been for the past couple of seasons. That is reality, because adjustments to recruiting strategy could buy you time, but performance on the field will close the deal. If Clemson lands these players in June, well, that will be a productive outing for them. Don't get me wrong. Segarra, Beard, those guys would be a huge asset to the future of Clemson football. But if they miss and then they struggle, people won't blame bad luck. They won't say that Clemson needs more opportunities to change their strategy. They will be demanding change. Change not only in the strategy, but in the staff as well. And the noise will get very, very loud. The good news, though, is that we can see that the staff is trying things different. They're trying to figure out a different strategy moving forward. The broader board is telling you that they are making adjustments. The earlier invites are telling you that they are making adjustments. The focus on multiple running backs at the same time is telling you that they are making adjustments. Now we have to see if it actually translates into something that they can have that is tangible, that they can close out on. June is coming. Summer is coming. Not winter. Summer is coming. This summer defines the narrative of Clemson recruiting moving forward. And if they still need to make changes, not only to their strategy, but to their staff. Winning drives everything. Now, I get it. There are a lot of times when, Clemson wasn't doing well, but they were bringing in good recruits. You can't sell that you're building and becoming a part of something. anymore for Clemson. That's the big problem, is that Clemson has already built it. So now you're having a harder sell, because that harder sell is, we need help getting back to where we were under the same staff. And I told you that statistically speaking, college football in general historically has not seen a head coach be able to fix his own fall at the same university. Have they been able to move universities and find another fire and more success or new success? Yes. Or rekindle some of their success? Yes. But at the same university, after faltering from being at the highest of highs and getting down to 7-6, we have not actually historically seen a head coach be able to do it. Can Dabo Swinney be the first coach to actually do it, to actually turn the team around? Well, it starts with what's on the field in 2026. And unfortunately, though, 2026 was supposed to be a rebuild year. Now it has to be a show me year. Not only show me that you can get back to being successful, but show me that your success will then translate into recruiting success. I believe it will, though. Success on the field trickles downstream to success in recruiting, not the other way around. Ultimately, players want to play for a team that seems to have it all put together, for a staff that seems to know what they're doing and is confident. Kirk Signetti, super confident. He won't last forever either, though. Dynasties don't last forever. Great coaches and great seasons don't last forever. Just look at Clemson. Just a few years ago, we couldn't see the light. We couldn't see the darkness at the end of the tunnel. We saw nothing but light. We couldn't see the downfall. We couldn't see the struggle of 2025. If you would have told me that we'd be where we're at now 5-6 years ago, well, let's say 7 years ago, if you would have told me that, I would have said, no way. Dabo's such a great recruiter and his staff is so good. He's going to be able to continue this and build a dynasty that lasts for decades. But we're seeing that that's just not the case. That's not reality. All right. Hey, thank you so much for sticking with me for a Friday episode of Locked On Clemson. Make sure you subscribe and follow so you never miss all the latest episodes. And if you are one of those ones that never miss an episode, well, and you're here with me on the segment 3, the Everydayer Club is for you. Get Locked On Clemson ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head over to lockedonclemson.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you watching on video, I'm going to send you over to that 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network channel. And on audio, make sure your second listen is Locked On College Basketball. And as always, Tiger fans, we'll see you at the top of the hill.